So we want a chance to talk about this more with our 9 Health expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. Let's talk about the full approval of the Pfizer vaccine. Obviously, this opens the door for some people. How many? What does this really mean?
I think it's big news, Tom. And I know that the surveys tell us only about 30% of people were saying they were waiting for the full approval, but that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Plus, it opens the door for companies to mandate. We've already heard a number of universities, actually since yesterday, that are now requiring the vaccine. And then it also opens the door for advertising. So hopefully now we'll see some ads reaching some people as well.
And what does this mean as far as the booster shot as well? Obviously, we're talking a lot about that now, starting to be on the calendar, and some people already going ahead and getting it.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because two things are happening at the same time. This is really related to the first round of vaccines, this full FDA approval. The booster shot is still under consideration by the FDA, so that has not even yet received emergency use authorization for the average person. Now, for immunocompromised people, they're already recommended to get it. But for you and me, we still have to wait a little to hear what they're going to say about the safety data. We know that it works really well.
And the booster shot at this point is strictly Pfizer and Moderna, right? That is not considered a Johnson & Johnson. People who have the Johnson & Johnson shot are on hold right now as far as anything like that.
Exactly, more waiting for them. Now we do know that mixing and matching is probably going to be okay, so I suspect that they will also recommend a booster for those patients as well, especially because Johnson & Johnson is not as effective as the other two. But for now, Moderna, if that's what you got, Pfizer, if that's what you got.
So if you got 2 shots of Pfizer, you got the same shot twice. And if you get a booster shot, it is identical in dosage and size and efficacy, theoretically, than those first 2?
It's identical. You're getting exactly a third shot of the exact same vaccine. Now, I had hoped, as we've talked about before, that the booster would be Delta specific. The Pfizer CEO just told us yesterday that the company is working on a Delta specific booster, but that's not what we're talking about in terms of coming out in the next month.
And that's what raises the question. Some people want to go get the booster shot now. The idea is 6 to 8 months after you got the second shot, you would start to consider getting that booster shot. So now, might it be better to wait for a more Delta-specific booster shot, or is it immaterial? Or what's your advice for people on the booster?
I would say a couple of things. So 6 to 8 months is a little bit of a soft window. So don't get panicked if it's going to mean waiting puts you out of that window.
And that's not even official right now, right? The actual distance?
Yeah, the science is based on 6 months. So really 8 months, 9 months, 10 months should be okay. Just don't wait years before getting it. So that's the first piece of it. The second piece of it is, we want to wait and let the FDA green light it before we go and get it. Even though we're all anxious to get it, I know I am. But I want to wait for that FDA EUA to come through before I go and get my booster. And I got my vaccine in January. So I'm already 7 months out.
7, 8 months.
Yeah, exactly.
The specific Delta variant booster potential, would that cause you to wait for that, or is that something that you wouldn't wait for?
I think not at this point I would wait for, because there's so much Delta in the community, and that's going to be months away. I wish it had come a little sooner from the company, but he just announced it yesterday, so now they have to test it. So I think maybe later this fall we'll have to see. But with the Delta in the community, we know that the efficacy, the protection is boosted with the booster. We just want to make sure it's safe by the FDA.
Well, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to learn. We appreciate you sharing some of your knowledge with us. Thanks as always, Dr. Payal Kohli.